Welcome to the wet and wild Lake 22, one of Washington State's most photographed lakes. This is a lake with a name that nobody can fully explain. It is a lake that has been shaped by glaciers, and it is a lake that has claimed lives. And today, I'm taking you along on the journey to find out what makes this lake so special. With a hot cup of coffee, I hit the empty roads as the mountain loop highways waking up beneath the clouds. Like thousands of hikers every year, I'm headed toward a place that's become one of Washington's most iconic destinations. For such a beautiful lake, Lake 22 has a surprisingly boring name. The truth is, nobody knows exactly where the name came from. The most accepted theory is that railroad surveyors numbered local waterways on their maps, and this lake happened to be connected to creek number 22. Another theory suggests it referred to a numbered section of the forest. Either way, the name stuck. So, one of Washington's most famous lakes could have gotten its name just because somebody couldn't think of anything better than a number. And honestly, that's part of the mystery. After more than a century, nobody has been able to prove exactly which story is correct. But the history of this place starts long before anyone decided to call it Lake 22. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples lived throughout these mountains, rivers, and valleys. The forest surrounding this lake provided food, material, and travel corridors generations before modern hiking trails ever existed. When you're walking through these old growth forests, or any forest for that matter, it's so easy to forget how many people walked these same trails and these same lands before you did, and how many people at one point called this home. What feels wild today was once part of a much larger landscape that connected communities across the Puget Sound region. Now, one of the main reasons why this forest feels so different is because for generations, it has escaped the most feared thing amongst trees, something that they tell in their folklore: the axe. In 1947, the area surrounding Lake 22 was set aside as a research natural area. That protection helped preserve old-growth cedar and hemlock forest that are increasingly rare throughout western Washington. Now, what's crazy is, by that point, some of these trees were so old that they can remember a time before the Americas were colonized. Today, they support an entire ecosystem of mosses, fungi, birds, insects, amphibians, and countless other species that depend on mature forests to survive. And somewhere, hidden up past these trees, is the reason why most people come to see Lake 22. The trail gradually steepens as it climbs towards the basin. The air cools, the forest begins to thin, and through the trees you start catching brief glimpses of the cliffs that surround the lake. And that's when you realize you're getting close. Around the next corner, one of Washington's most iconic views is waiting. And then you arrive at the lake. Oh my God. Lake 22 sits inside a cirque, a bowl-shaped basin carved by glaciers thousands of years ago. The steep cliffs, waterfalls, and mountain walls surrounding the lake are all reminders of the ice that once filled this valley. Standing here, just looking out over the lake, it's really hard to imagine this being underneath a literal river of ice. But without those glaciers, this lake and much of the landscape around it wouldn't exist. As peaceful as this lake feels and as serene as it looks, it does have a bit of a dangerous side. The cliffs and boulder fields surrounding Lake 22 have been the site of serious accidents over the years. Search and rescue teams continue to respond to emergencies here when hikers venture beyond established trails or underestimate mountain conditions. The danger isn't always obvious until obviously something goes wrong. These mountains are incredibly beautiful, but they're still mountains. Loose rock, changing weather, slippery terrain, and simple mistakes can have serious consequences. So, why does this place draw so many people to summit it every single year? Maybe it's the waterfalls. Maybe it's the old growth forest. Maybe it's the history hidden beneath the moss and trees. Whatever the reason, Lake 22 has become much more than a destination on a map. It may have one of the most ordinary names in all of Washington, but after spending a day here, it's hard to imagine a place that's anything but extraordinary.